James Daly.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker. Can I very warmly welcome my right honourable friend's statement today? And does he agree with me that it does seem quite extraordinary that the criticism of his decision today seems to be that members opposite would have him not act upon legal advice which states that this legislation impinges upon the rights of women, children and some of the most vulnerable in our community. If the Scottish Secretary was not undertaking this action today, that would be a bigger outrage than what we have heard here today. This government is the defender of the rights of those who are most vulnerable and who need protecting in our society, and it is a disgrace that this has been painted in the constitutional light it is by the SNP for their own end rather than the rights of women and children in our country.
Absolutely, Mr Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I rise in support of the Government, my honourable friend from Don Valley, and more specifically my honourable friend from Penistone and Stocksbridge, who is one of the most thoughtful, honourable people in this House. And the language that has been used against my honourable friend is typical of the language of the left for people with deeply held, honest views. And it is the word disgusting was used across there. It is disgusting that my honourable friend was treated in that way here today.
Remove the whip from him.
Now, I think this, in general, Madam Deputy Speaker, has been a good debate. We have had the normal debate every single time I'm in this chamber listening to my honourable friends from the SNP. No matter what the debate, we come back to independence, one version of it or another. And when we look at the title of this debate here, there's two things to talk about. The first is, as it says up there, Section 35 power. Now, the question therefore legally, constitutionally, is are the government entitled constitutionally to use that power to intervene on this decision of the Scottish Government? And clearly they are. There is simply no argument against that. The Equalities Act of 2010 is the legislation within the United Kingdom that guarantees equal human rights, equal rights for everyone, no matter where you live in the United Kingdom. This piece of legislation from the Scottish National Party amends the 2004 Act, the Gender Recognition Act, and that brings it in to the competence of Section 35 because, as has been said previously, the Secretary of State is entitled, if there are adverse effects of this legislation and the impacts of the operation of the Equality Act that result from the fact that the GRC changes a person's protected characteristics of sex for the purpose of the 2010 Act. So that clearly does. There is a legal basis to what the government. So if we go away from that, constitutionally, the government are entitled to do this. We can have a debate regarding what are the merits of one argument or the other, but the government are entitled to do this. They are the elected government of the United Kingdom. We talk, and I know my friends from the SNP would prefer us not to talk like this. We are the United Kingdom, and legislation like the Equalities Act 2010 applies to us all. Now, in terms of the issues that we're talking about here, because of the competences, because of the Section 35, it brings within the scope that people, members such as me, from English constituencies, can speak in respect of this. And I believe, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm sure I'm waiting for somebody from the Labour Party to call me transphobic or something, I believe that 16 is too young for these decisions to be made. I believe that this legislation is a direct threat to women's rights, sex and health-based rights, and especially single-sex spaces. Now, those are genuinely held beliefs, so the government are entitled to do this, the government share my beliefs, and they are entirely correct in what they are doing today.
Charlotte Nichols.